Apostle Paul confesses his true identity, that he is a debtor through the Bible. First, Paul confesses himself as a debtor of grace. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 10 says, "By the grace of God, I am what I am, and his grace to me was without effect. No, I worked harder than all of them, yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me." Second, Paul confesses himself as a debtor of the gospel. Romans chapter 1 verse 14 says, "I am debtor both the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise." Third, Paul confesses himself as a debtor of mission. Acts chapter 20 verse 24 says, "However, I consider my life worth nothing to me, if I may finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the gospel of God's grace." Just as the Apostle Paul testifies of his identity as a debtor, we believe that we should live the lives of debtors of grace, debtors to the gospel, and debtors to missions. As we confess the Lord's Prayer, an old version of the Lord's Prayer goes like this: "And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors." The summary of the Bible passage I quoted today emphasizes that we are debtors. If we meditate on Romans chapter 13, verses 7 through 10, we have just read, we will know that there are debts that we cannot pay and debts that we can afford to pay. And the more we meditate on Romans chapter 13, verses 7 through 10, the more we conclude that we have debts to repay throughout our lifetime. We realize that these debts are eternal debts that can never be repaid, even if try to pay. The Apostle Paul said that we have public debt and personal debt. But even personal debt is related to public debt. When we talk about economy or money, we feel uncomfortable, but Jesus' salvation also has an economic dimension. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 20 says, "You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your body." This particular verse means that Jesus paid the price of the cross and bought to save us. Gospel of Matthew chapter 20, verse 28 said, "Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." The Greek word ransom for many means a payment to release someone from some kind of bondage, prisoners of war, slavery, and death. Jesus teaches us his ministry of salvation as an economic value. What kind of debt do we have to pay? Romans chapter 13, verse 7, we read again, "Pay to all what is due to them, taxes to whom taxes are due, revenue to whom revenue is due, respect to whom respect is due, honor to whom honor is due." The phrase, what is due to them, is that taxes and tariffs are both a debt and responsibility that citizens have to the state. As a man of Roman era, Paul explains public debt through the Roman tax system. It is said that the Roman Empire imposed largely three taxes on the nations within the Roman Empire. First, as a land tax, ground tax. It is said that people within the Roman Empire paid 1/10 of grain and 1/5 of wine and fruit in cash or goods through the harvest of their land. Second, income tax. Income tax is said to have paid 1/100th of income of each person in Roman Empire. Third, the poll tax, which is paid by everyone between age of 14 and 65. In addition, there were import and export taxes, road use tax, bridge tax, market tax, port tax, animal ownership tax, chariot operation tax, and so on. The Apostle Paul teaches that Christians who believe in Jesus must pay taxes, no matter how burdensome they may be. The tax on the state that the Apostle Paul is talking about can be seen as equivalent to public debt. Taxes which are public debt receive a wide range of benefit from state that we cannot possibly do alone. As individuals, we cannot provide water, electricity, sewage, or transportation. The founding ideology of the United States in which we live guarantees life, freedom, and happiness based on Christian values. To guarantee life, liberty, and happiness, there is a public responsibility and duty of taxation. As a Christian in public debt, let us pay our taxes honestly. Romans chapter 13, verse 8, we read again, owe no one anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. In this passage, the Apostle Paul testifies to both public debt and personal debt. Just in case we should never misunderstand Paul's teaching that we can live with a lot of credit debt. Don't misunderstand. Credit debt should be paid off as soon as possible, as maintenance of credit debt as little as possible. I remember the words of a bank president who was a former member of mine when I served a rural church in Kansas. He talks about the credit debt. He always said to me, Pastor, easy money, hard to pay. Easy borrowed credit means hard to repay. The words, owe no one anything except to love means that the debt of love will be incurred. The more active meaning of other than the debt of love for each other is to owe each other love and pay the debt of love. Through the ministries where I served, I met three kinds of people, as Paul testified. First, there are people who ask me to love only me. Those who say, please love me, are the people who love with a lot of depth. But the problem is here, they owe a debt of love to others, but never repay. The phrase, please only love me, is not the debt of love that St. Paul teaches. Second, there are people who say, I neither give or receive love. It means that I will neither owe nor give the debt of love to anyone. Think about this kind of person. But we cannot live like that. Already, you and I are people who owe a debt of love to Jesus, that is salvation, that cannot be repaid. Let us look back on our lives for a moment. If we people who truly believe in Jesus, we can realize that the life attitude of nothing giving or receiving love is not the life of love that Apostle Paul teaches. You don't have to repay the person you receive love from. If the person who gave love is still alive, you have to repay them. But if not, you just have to show the love that they gave you to others. There is a saying that pastors are fed on the love of the congregation. I have come this far with the love of the church members all my life. All of that is a debt of love to me. Third, there are people who say, I am loved, and at the same time, I love you too. Our church must have many people like this. The meaning of except for the depth of love testified by the Apostle Paul means that we have a debt of love that we have to repay every day. And at the same time, we have a debt of love that we cannot repay forever. In early Christianity, there was a church father named Origen. He's the founder of spiritual and allegorical interpretation of the Bible. Origen said of the Apostle Paul's except the debt of love, that the debt of love remains with us forever and never leaves us, which we give and receive day by day and forever. Romans chapter 13, verse 9 and 10, we read again, the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word, love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Romans chapter 13, verses 9 and 10 relates to what Jesus says about the law. Gospel of Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, Jesus says, do not think that I have come to abolish the law of the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verses 37 through 40, this is about the great commandment. Jesus summarized the entire Bible in two statements. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like this: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. If we truly live a life that pays off our debt of love, we will not do anything to hurt others. Because if we live a life that pays the debt of love, we will not commit adultery, murder, stealing, coveting, or doing evil to our neighbors. Tomorrow, we remember the 22nd anniversary of 9/11. As we remember September 11, let us reflect upon and practice three simple principles of Christian religion. There are three simple rules of life that all Christians must practice on this earth. So, friends, please listen and repeat after me. Do no harm. Do good. Stay in God's love. Friends, we are people who live the life of debtors. Like the Apostle Paul, we too live debtors of grace, debtors of the gospel, and the debtors to missions. Death of grace, death of the gospel, the death of missions are the depths of love. We have to pay these debts for the rest of our lives and receive them for the rest of our lifetime too. But remember, we cannot fully repay. But with the help of the Holy Spirit, let us fulfill the law with the love of Jesus Christ, while realizing that we are living with a debt of love that will never be repaid. Amen.